Good morning, everybody. All right, so yeah, SPY, the overall market, the Dow Jones is down a ton. Sorry for the echo. There we go, fix the echo. Sorry about that. All right, yeah, but the we're getting a pretty big red pre-market session this morning. Just to show you guys, the market is down around 500 points, I believe they said. All of this is stemming from a tweet by Trump about Chinese tariffs, and I guess it's causing some skepticism in our market. You can see the SPY here is down a ton from 294.03 to 289.50s. So pretty significant drop, and most other things are dropping some as well, or down. AMD down. SQ down, most tech stocks following the overall market for the most part. CGC, I actually had a really nice trade on CGC in Power Hour on Friday. I made $300 and something on it. I'm a little disappointed in myself though, because I let my emotions get the best of me. Part of me was just like, I need to get this account in the green. And so I took a trade with 1,500 shares for CGC, and you can see I shorted it. I drew out the resistance line. I shorted it up here, and I made a little bit over $300. But like I said, I'm a little bit ashamed that I let my emotions get the best of me. I don't think I should have taken that big of sizing in the trade. And, I mean, it worked out, but I think it's a bad example to set. And so, I'm happy with the result, not really happy with the trade in general, but green is green, I guess. And so, yeah, but CGC is down. I almost held it as well. Like, I was really considering holding the stock over the weekend and just giving myself a big shot to go into the green. But unfortunately, I ended up closing the position out, and everything just dropped massively this morning. So hindsight is always good. We also, another big mover. Wow. See, this is interesting. So the other big mover I was watching today was AXSM. So AXSM was the other big mover. But since I looked at it, AXSM has almost completely filled this entire gap. So AXSM is down from 2270s down to 1928. And I mean, it closed at 1795 as well. And so, this one's basically almost filled the entire gap. We'll see where that one goes as well. But most other stuff is dropping right now. If you see anything else in the market that looks good, let me know. But like I said, most stuff is dropping. We have OVID, which you can see on the top chart here. And it doesn't look terrible. But, it basically dropped a lot since its 273 high. So we'll see where some of this goes. I'm going to be looking up some news in a second. ESPR. ATHE, ADAP, AMTX. Yeah, AMTX looks good. Appreciate it. I didn't even see that one. We also have ZYNE. Doesn't look terrible either. ZYNE. And so I'll watch Zine as well. This one doesn't look bad. It's kind of trading against the overall market. Solo, which is one that was running a few months ago, is gapping up some as well. It's at 350 now, gapping up from 327, but the volume's still pretty low overall in pre-market right now. So that's the only, that's a big concerning factor, is that the volume's just a little bit low at this point in pre-market at the very least. Yep. So. All right. So let me know if you guys see anything else. We'll look up some news in a minute, see what we can get going here, see what kind of action we can trade with today in the market. But yeah, just a weak market, honestly, weak market. We could look up. I think the big news story today is just the SPY in the overall market, the Dow Jones and stuff like that, just dropping as much as it has. That's a pretty significant drop, all things considered, for the overall market, and so it's definitely significant here. This drop is definitely pretty big, and we'll see what we get with the overall market today. What's everybody else's main watch today? Let me know if you want me to look up news on anything specific. What's up, James? What's up, brother? S&P down 2%, Dow down 480 points, NASDAQ 2%, crude 1%, gold, which is very typical in the overall market. So gold, a lot of times when the market crashes, I mean, I think this is pretty common knowledge, but a lot of times when the market is crashing or dropping significantly, gold will push up, because when there's skepticism in the overall market, people value gold a little bit more. They maybe, kind of trust gold a little bit more, I think, when the market is down. And so with that, we can look at some gold stocks, which, like I said, I think gold is doing well with the overall market. It's up $1. And yeah, we'll see what we get. Just to look at what's down here. PETS, CYTK. And yeah, I mean, cannabis stocks are down. Man, I wish I would have held CGC on Friday. All right, so let's look up some news. Today. So first one's first. Let's look up AXSM, and then we can move on to OVID. But AXSM here. What's up, the best? Good morning, man. Let's look it up. Alright, so let's get this out here, and then let's look up some of this. So AXSM, they highlighted the acceleration of the Momentum Phase 3 trial of their AXS-07, which is a migraine bio drug. It now expects top-line results in the H2 So I'm guessing the second quarter of 2019 of this year. So again, they highlighted acceleration of Momentum Phase 3 trial of AXS-07 in migraines, and now they expect top-line results, I believe, in the second quarter of 2019. I'm not sure what that abbreviation is. Yeah, so now it expects the results in the second half of 2019, which is sooner than its previous guidance for the first quarter of 2020. And yeah, shares rose, but they must have found something that they didn't necessarily like in some of these releases, because like I said, AXSM all the way up to 2270s and then down to 1930. So they found something they didn't necessarily like with these releases, because it's given up most of its gains already. That, or just somebody's just unloading their shares. And so we'll see what happens with AXSM, but big drop, massive drop here. Let's see, we also have AQ, which I'm pretty sure this is to be honest, this looks like an acquisition. It's not a split, because it didn't gap up enough. So it's not a split. To me, it looks like an acquisition of some sort. And so we can look up AQ, but like I said, I think it looks like an acquisition. And if it is an acquisition, it's going to be right. So basically, Marvel Technology Group said Monday it reached an agreement to buy AQ, which is a leader in multi-gig Ethernet connectivity, for $13.25 per share. So yeah, it's an acquisition / buyout, and that's what I assumed. It looks like one. just because it's a very stable move right here. It hasn't really moved much since it gapped up. And usually when you see a stock gap up like this and then just kind of stay still in a straight line, it could either be a split, but then you have to look to see how much it's gapping up to determine whether it's a split, or it could be a buyout or an acquisition. And in this case, it was a buyout or an acquisition for AQ. And so we'll see where that one goes. Next one I'm looking up is OVID. OVID here, gapping up from 180s to 215. If anybody knows the news for OVID, let me know. I'm not seeing any news for OVID. There might be some, I just don't see any right now. And so we'll see what happens. ESPR gapping up, but not really any volume to accompany it. We could look at ZYNE here. It doesn't look terrible here for ZYNE. All right, so ZYNE received a FDA fast track designation. So yeah, the FDA had granted a fast track designation for Zygel, which is for the treatment of behavioral symptoms associated with Fragile X syndrome. The company said they believe it has the potential to be the first treatment to basically directly address the core symptoms of Fragile X, and a genetic condition that causes developmental problems is what Fragile X is. And so we'll see what happens with OVID, or not OVID, for ZYNE. It's gapping up some, kind of going counter to the overall market. It closed at 11.45 and it's sitting at 12.10 now, so it's gapping up about 55 cents. We'll see where that one heads. We also have, like I said, we have AMD and we have SQ and we have some other tech stocks and microchip stocks here, but I think these are mostly just following the overall market. Yeah, I'm not seeing any news, so pretty sure these are just following the market in general. What was the other stock? I saw another one that was gapping up really nicely. I have to roll back a little bit. AMTX. Oh yeah, AMTX was what it was. So AMTX, nice gap up here from 87 cents all the way to $1.47. And so, pretty decent gap up here. Almost 100%. Looks like roughly 80%. Maybe I'm off on that, but AMTX. So they won a $23 million biodiesel supply contract with the India state-owned oil companies. So it's basically their Universal Biofuels India subsidiary was awarded a biodiesel supply contract. And that's what's going on for AMTX. Big move here. It's almost to 150. I think 150 being the $0.50 is an interesting level right here. I think it's run into some resistance before. And so I think that level right at 150 is really interesting to see if it breaks it, if it rejects there, kind of what happens overall with that one. For OVID, headline, scientists see hope in rare disease drug for OVID. So it's just a hype piece, it seems. So there goes AMTX breaking over the $0.50 there. There's the break of the $0.50. So we'll see where that one heads now as well. All right, guys. So I'm kind of torn on what kind of sizing to take today. I kind of want to go for it, I think my account's big enough to take like 1,000 shares or so. I think my account's big enough to take maybe 1,000 shares. With CGC, I took 1,500 on Friday. And it worked out, but like I said, I kind of regret doing that. I think 1,500 is a little bit too large for me to take, and so I would preferably take 5 500 to 1,000. I think that is reasonable. I think anything over that is being greedy or impatient. Yep, 100% Skippy. What's up, Seven? My portfolio looks rough this morning. Had to hop on and see what's good. I mean, so the market is down. The market is down. A lot of stocks are kind of following the overall market. But, I mean, last week and the last 2 weeks specifically, we've all had a pretty big move up in the overall market. And so while the market is currently down, it's still right around it's right around here. And so it's down. But it's not down a ton. It's almost to 290. And the market is still up a lot in the past, few months. And so it's right around the lifetime highs. And that's roughly where the market is right now, where this red line is. And so, it's down some. Do I think it's the next crash? No. It may be. I don't know. You never really know. But market's still right around the lifetime highs. And, I think it was kind of a dumb tweet, but we'll see what happens. Right, I mean, that's kind of what I do, Wolf. I'm not going to just use 1,000 or 1,500. What I typically do is I analyze, like we have a class out right now called How to Build a Trade Plan. And one of those things is you analyze the range of the stock, and then in turn, it gives you like a reasonable risk level. And then in turn, that'll ultimately dictate what kind of share size you take in those type of trades. And so like that is what I do. First I look at the range, see how much the stock is moving. Then I determine risk and reward, and then based on how much I'm risking in order to keep everything as consistent as possible, then I use the appropriate share size for that risk and for that reward. And I think that's how traders need to. We also have another class that we should be uploading called How to Strive for Consistency is what the class is called. And it's just about working towards consistency. And one of the ways is to keep everything, even your losses, as consistent as possible. And that is ultimately how, by analyzing the range, you can't use the same share size for everything. Like for instance, a stock that has like a $5 range is going to have a huge range relative to a stock that has a 50-cent range. And if you use, 1,000 shares for both of those, then one of your losses is going to be way bigger than your other loss. And that's going to cause inconsistency in your trading. And so the best way to approach that is just to analyze the range, try to keep everything as consistent as possible relative to the share size you're using and the range of the stock you're trading. What's up, Connor? What's up, Wolf? Skippy? Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think that's the way to do it. A lot of times people are actually profitable, and I can use myself as an example. But the problem lies in not giving yourself a consistent range, a consistent risk, a consistent reward. And so you have these big drawdowns in your account to where you might have more green trades than you actually do red. But because when you do have a red trade, it's like a big drawdown because you're not using a consistent sizing or a consistent range or risk, then, it actually kind of keeps you behind. And so one of the ways to approach that is just to keep everything consistent. And like I said, I am an example of making that mistake a lot, is that, I'm an example of making that mistake a lot, which is just not keeping my risk as consistent. One of the ways that I keep it to where one of the ways I hurt my account is that on winning days, like on green days, on profitable days, I'm usually one and done. Like I usually trade once and then I'm done. If it's a green day, if it's a profitable day, I'm done after a green trade once I'm in the green. But then on red days, I get stubborn and I trade more than once, and that's gonna hurt my risk and reward. That's gonna kind of cancel out some of my risk and reward. And I can recognize that about myself, and that's something that I have to focus on as well. But there's all these different aspects that a lot of times traders don't necessarily think of when they're looking to trade, and a lot of it has to do with consistency. That's what's ultimately going to help you. What's up, Antonio? Shally. We got Shally Wolf, and then we have the Wolf. What's up, guys? Joe Stock Trader. Good morning, brother. What's up, Juan? No, I don't really use Stock Trade anymore. Not a ton, at least. Honestly, though, I've thought a lot about depositing. What do you guys think? Would you guys like to see me trade maybe some of these penny stocks on Ustock Trade, and I could live stream it? You know, I used to do that. I used to trade on Ustock Trade, and I used to live stream on it. And so I've been thinking about using that lately. But like I said, I mean, the only way it would be worthwhile for me to use Ustock Trade is if I traded penny stocks. You know, and that's the biggest thing, like opening up a $500,000 Ustock Trade account and then trading specifically penny stocks with that is something I've been thinking of. Let me know if you want to see that, if you would like to see that. I think some people probably would. But yeah, SPY is down, guys. Big drop on the SPY. And AXSM is probably one of the bigger watches as well. A really interesting level for AXSM here is another interesting level for AXSM is the previous day's closing price. You know, it's down so much already where I don't know how much room we're really going to have. I mean, actually, we still have a few dollars, but the range is big. And so the previous day's close is right here at around 1790 or so. And I think that's the big level. Like, if AXSM starts to get really weak, I'm ultimately going to be looking for it to break under that previous close. Right here, under this previous close at 1790. So I've talked about it before, Juan. So if I'm being honest here, and this is my honest opinion about Ustock Trade. Like, I try to be honest with people about this. So Ustock Trade it fills a void. All these brokers are good for different things. They can all fill a void and something that's kind of necessary in the trading world. Ustock Trade specifically fills the void of eliminating the pattern day trading rule for people that don't have that much money and don't want to trade with people that don't want to trade with margin. So Ustock Trade allows you to trade with no PDT rule, but there's no margin, and so in turn there's no shorting. The fills are not great, but they're manageable, and commissions are cheap. So commissions are like $1 per trade on Ustock Trade. And so it fills that void of people that may not have that much money that want to day trade with a small account and maybe trade some penny stocks. I think Ustock Trade fills that void because there's no PDT rule. Commissions are $1 per trade. But again, there's no margin. There's also no PDT rule, and the fills are kind of so-so. But like I said, I think that $1 commission rate kind of cancels out any bad fill you're going to get for the most part. Now, the platform is terrible. The platform is very minimalist, I guess I should say. I have a review on them, but I think it'll work if you're just trying to get your feet wet with trading. I think it's an option for sure. The biggest thing is that a lot of times there are some restrictions on Ustock Trade stocks. So just like TradeNet restricts some of their penny stocks, Ustock Trade has what's called super users, and they're going to have limited liquidity on some of these stocks. Like a lot of these stocks are going to have limited liquidity on Ustock Trade. And basically, if it's limited liquidity, you cannot get in with a market order. You can only get in with a limit order, and the fills may be so-so. The fills may not be that great. But that's the most frustrating thing about Ustock Trade is that they'll label some stocks limited liquidity, and so ultimately it'll be harder. I think market orders are what I used to use on Ustock Trade just because limit orders were really hard to get hit. I would have a lot of trouble getting my limit orders filled, and so market orders made the most sense for me on Ustock Trade. But it's just pros and cons. I think I have a review of them somewhere. But, I mean, there's some options. But like I said, some stocks are restricted. They put limited liquidity on some stocks. There's no PDT rule, and there's no margin. It's solely for long-based traders, and the platform is very basic. And so there's pros and cons to it. But, you know, it just depends on what you're trying to do. Yeah, no worries, Juan. No worries, brother. No stress, man. Yeah, no worries, Juan. Yeah, I used them for months. Like, I did trade on them for months. I have some live videos of trading on Ustock Trade as well. Let me see if I can find them. I'll try to post one for you. Hold on one second. Let me look for these videos. But yeah, I should have a few at least. Oh, man, that hurt my ears. Way too loud. Yeah, so here's an old video of me trading on Ustock Trade if you haven't seen it yet. Here's an old video of me trading on Ustock Trade if you haven't seen it. I've got a bunch more too. Just type in beginner trading and then Ustock Trade, and you should find a lot of different videos of me trading on there. Also, guys, while we have everybody here, join our public Discord channel. We did put out our fourth class in our series. And like I said, we're creating a free trading camp here on YouTube. So we're creating it absolutely free. And it's going to be a free trading camp that we're making. And so we did put out our first video yesterday. Or really, it's our fourth video in the series in the free trading camp playlist. Yesterday's class was called VWAP and related understanding VWAP and related strategies. And I think it was a really good class. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, Juan. You would have to reach out to them and ask them. I'm not 100% sure about that one, brother. Alright guys, like I said, join our public Discord channel. Our goal is to create a free day trading chat room through this Discord, and so be a part of it. We're getting a decent amount of people here every day. Right now we have over 250 people in the public Discord, and so join it. And here's the link. Yeah, no worries, James. Happy to help, brother. Happy to help, man. And so I'll post this. I'll post the link for the class yesterday as well if you're interested in checking that out. Like I said, really at this point we have a playlist of classes. So we do have a playlist of classes here. Let me see if I can get it rolling. I want to see how I can. I want to see how I can share it. But yeah, so. Here's our newest class on understanding VWAP and related strategies, and I'll post that link here as well. There's our link to our new understanding VWAP and related strategies class that we posted yesterday. And like I said, we will be posting one class per day every single day. And so we're going to be posting one class per day every single day. We have over 60 hours of educational day trading content. So over 60 hours of educational day trading content. Like I said, what we're doing here is trying to create a free trading camp. That's ultimately what we're trying to do. And so we're going to be uploading one free class a day every day for the next few months at least. We may miss a day or two in between then if I'm busy or something like that. But there's the link. Go check that out. Alright guys, also don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Mitch and I day trade live on stream every weekday morning. So we day trade live on stream every weekday. So hit that subscribe button and come join us again. Appreciate the sub, Corey. Welcome, Jan. Appreciate the subscribe. Patrick, appreciate the subs, guys. Welcome. We appreciate it. And so yeah, what's everybody's main watch today? Like I said, I'm looking at AXSM here, CGC, BHC maybe. Gonna look at the overall market though. The market looks weak, and I'm thinking we may get a rebound though today. I think the market may have dropped a little bit too much. I'm thinking we may get a rebound, but you never really know. The market could just continue dropping here. Like I said, for AXSM, I think the big level is the previous day's close, right around 1790 or so. I think that's an interesting level to see what it does right there. But yeah, we'll see what we get. Alright guys. guys. So let's see. So like I said, what's everybody's main watch today? We have AQ, which is AQ is a buyout or an acquisition. We also have ADAP here. Gap becomes sum. OVID, which I think was just up on hype. It's already filling that gap. ESPR. A lot of drops for like AMD specifically, CGC. Overall market in general, SQ, Roku. So just be careful today, guys. A lot of stuff's dropping. We might see, like I said, though, I think the market may rebound some, but that's just speculation. I'm not really sure what the market's going to do, and nobody really knows. I think it may rebound some just because it's down so much already. But we'll see. It could very easily continue dropping, especially if it breaks that 288 low on the SPY. I'd be very careful here. Hey, appreciate it, no. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the right move. Mode. That's probably the right move, brother. Yeah, but welcome to the Discord, no. Welcome, brother. Alright, guys, we got about 10 minutes left. 100% Skippy. Every time the market goes down for a bit, as soon as a green candle verification begins up, many more millionaires are made. All is well. Patience is the name of the game. Yeah, for sure. Trading's all about patience. 100%. Absolutely agree. Who knows what the market's going to do, but it'll be an interesting day for sure. There's nothing wrong with taking it slow. There's nothing wrong with observing the market, guys. You don't have to trade every single day. And I think I got lucky with CGC last Friday, but, before that I was getting hit last week. And so I was able to turn it around, but, just be patient here, guys. The market's been really brutal. I've been getting a lot of text messages and messages from people saying that their trading hasn't been going that great the last 2 weeks. And they're absolutely right. The market's been really tough the last few weeks. And it's one of those things that it's just really, the volume is pretty low for the market in general, and so we're getting a lot of choppy action, a lot of just kind of crosses over and under the VWAP. Not really many stocks are picking an actual direction, except for today. Obviously a lot of stuff is down, but just protect your account, guys. There's nothing wrong with observing the market, and I think that it's actually better in a lot of ways to take a step back and just observe the market on days like today maybe. Yeah, for sure, man. A lot of people are getting hit in the market, and me included. The last 2 weeks have been terrible. But it's just kind of how it goes. It's just how it goes. The market kind of moves in waves to where you'll have really good, I had like a really good streak of like 6, 7 weeks all green. So 6 or 7 profitable weeks in a row. I went on a really nice streak of like 12 green days in a row. And then now we're on a little bit of a slump, and that's just kind of how it happens. The best way to approach it, like I said, is just to scale down, protect your account, and not get emotional like I did on Friday and take an unnecessary risk. Luckily, it worked out, but like I said, a little bit, not ashamed, but maybe disappointed in myself I took that risk. I'm obviously happy, and I could sit here and pretend that, I planned it out that way and that, I knew what I was doing, but I think I just got a little emotional on Friday, but green is good, and I'll take green. We'll see what happens with the SPY. Like I said, big low of the day here at 288 or so. That's interesting. Gonna watch CGC and a few of these other ones, but what's up, Jaden? Right, and that's kind of what I think. No, it's just a big sell-off. It's just a pretty big sell-off. I think it'll probably rebound some here. I think it'll probably rebound a little bit at least, but who knows? It could just start tanking, and we could just get another massive drop. The market's been pushing up a lot in the last few months, if you look at the overall market, in the last few months, really since December ended in January of this new year, you could just see just a steady rise in the SPY since then. And I mean, now it's back to the all-time highs here, and so we'll see what we get, but who knows? Interesting market. All right, guys, we got about 6 minutes left, about 6 minutes. Yeah, for sure, man. Buffett buying all that stuff up. Market has been choppy due to earnings announcement for the big companies. Yeah, for sure. And I think that definitely has something to do with it, too. All right, so today, like I said, I usually kind of mess around with the opening range. Not the opening range, but with the moving average crossover play, and we can go ahead and toy with that today. And just gotta mess around here and see what we get. If it'll let me go long. Okay, so they actually took AMD off of the HTB list. So they did take AMD off that hard to borrow list. And so that's interesting here. They did take it off the hard to borrow list. So let's get everything ready here. What's everybody's main watch? I know I asked once already. Let's see what my account's up to now. Yeah, so I'm at 239,872. So I need to get about $130 to be green. I've kept this account mostly break even. Mostly break even in the last 3 months. I mean, I'm not down anything significant. Mostly break even. Like I said, I'm down about $120 on it. So it's just kind of been a roller coaster. It'll go up and then down and then up and then down. And so it's just my account in general is choppy. I just need to fight back a little bit. Like I said, though, I think the last few weeks have been a little bit of a slump in the overall market. I think the last few weeks we've had a slump in the overall market, and so it's okay that I would rather be kind of break even in the last few weeks than down a ton. All right, guys, we got about 3 minutes left, guys. 3 minutes left. Let's do this. All right, guys, we got 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. Let's do it. PRPO pushing up. Yeah, so PRPO is getting a spike here, guys. It's up to 829s now. It closed at 789, and so it's up to 820, 830s right now. Big move. It made that push for that $0.50 of 850, and it's amazing to me when people say technical analysis doesn't work. You could look at 850 here, exactly up to that level. And then it's down to 839. So PRPO is interesting here. Let's see how much of this stuff is actually tradable, though. AXSM is tradable, so that's good. So AXSM is tradable. BHC is tradable. Obviously, CGC is. PRPO is not, unfortunately. You know, when the market drops, you can see TVIX, UVXY, and a lot of these really start to move up here. All right, guys, we got about A minute and a half left. A minute and a half left. So we got a pretty big range on AMD. I'll have to figure out what kind of share size I want to take with this moving average crossover. I think 5,500 shares is probably reasonable with it. Like I said, I'm back to trading the back to testing the moving average crossover. I'll have to review those results. It's been a while, but I'll have to review those results. We got less than a minute, guys. Less than a minute. Alright, guys, we got 30 seconds. Yeah, good luck, guys. Here's the bell. We got 15 seconds, guys. Good luck. Let's do it. Here we go. All right, there's the bell. All right, so we're getting a little bit of a drop here for AMD. Like I said, I think the market's the big thing to actually watch right now. BHC is testing those previous low of the days here. See the overall market. The overall market dropped initially at the open, but we'll see what we get here. I got to be careful with VWAP fades just because if the market starts to rebound quickly here, which it very easily could, some of these other stocks are going to spike up here. That's the big thing. PRPO went up to 850 and then it rebounded here. Market is trying to push up some. Roku pushing up. SQ pushing up. I wish I would have held CGC on Friday. All right, so we're getting a spike up here, possibly a red to green move on AMD. AMTX spike. Yeah, AMTX spiking up to 160s here. Big move up to 170s at its highs for AMTX. Yeah, I mean, I'm basically looking at AMD to see if it pulls the moving average crossover and starts to run up some. Big red pre-market and after-hour session. Really red in general in extended hours. Big pullback for AMTX. AMRN spiking up some. So, like I said, I think we're getting a rebound in the overall market. And at least a quick rebound. And this is something I did call out. This is something I said I thought would happen. Never really know for sure, but that's what we are getting, and it's to be expected. You know, when the market's down that much already, usually it's going to rebound some, even if it's just for a very short period of time. And so that's what we're getting in the overall market, is a big rebound here. Let's see if it actually holds. Is another story. All right, so AMD spiking up here, looking for this moving average cross to happen. So if the white crosses under the blue, that's a long play, so we'll see what we get. AMTX dropping some, and AXSM dropping some. Like kind of what I expected, not much of an entry to be had for that one. SQ spiking up, Roku spiking up. So a lot of stuff is up and bullish after the SPY. The SPY's looking pretty strong right now. And so I'm going to be pretty careful with any short strategy I get into, honestly. I may try to trade it after hours again. Not after hours, in power hour again. I had pretty good results in power hour on Friday. So I may try to trade in power hour again, depending on what we see. Yeah, SPY looking really bullish here. Zine doesn't look terrible. I mean, 1165 short for Zine with 85 risk maybe is what I'm looking at for it. I don't hate that, and then it's got a big reward. But with the market spiking up like this, it's just where the previous day's close is. 1145. So, yeah, that's going to be kind of risky. Alright, so I'm going to look for a pullback here for the moving average crossover. Like, we're kind of getting one, but I think we're going to need a pullback first. Well, it worked. So there's 500 shares for the pullback on AMD. Like I said, I kind of regret taking this. I probably should have waited a little while. But SPY's looking strong. And so riding this up is fine, I think. But that's the kind of the pullback I was a little bit worried about. No, it's fine, but I think the pullback to 80 is where you got to kind of be on the lookout for. Maybe it'll find some support at 27 and keep going up, but if not, this is why it's just a paper trade today. We'll see what we get. Whoa. See my screen jumping? That's strange. But a lot of bullish action right now in this market. Honestly, it's not a bad entry, all things considered, for AMD, but I mean, I guess I'm just trying to kill time because everything else is looking so strong right now, and really it's just a paper trade at this point, and so we'll see what we get, but you know, I think that trying to take my normal short positions when the market is acting like this is just going to be a little bit too risky. Maybe a little bit of a, not a moving average bounce here, but no, I mean, that was a decent amount of support. That would have been a nice dip buy. But yeah, at this point, what do you guys see? I mean, I'm not seeing anything that I really like right now. And the main reason I don't see anything I really like right now is because the market is just skyrocketing up, which is what I thought would happen. It's something I called out in pre-market, that I think the market was just down so much, maybe a little oversold, that it was bound to kind of rebound some at least. And this is what we get. It may not actually hold these levels. So it may not actually hold these levels, but it's still rebounding some. And that's kind of what I expected, you know. It's kind of like what you saw. Who said that this morning? Every time the market goes down, as soon as a green candle verification begins, many more millionaires are made. Absolutely. And that's kind of what happens, is that, you know, when the market drops like that, people start to look for the bounce buy, the bounce play. And that's kind of what we get a lot of the time. Yeah, Zion would have stopped me out, and so I'm glad I didn't take it. At this point, I'm just looking. Everything's kind of bullish. And there's some plays to be made, but you know, I'm just kind of taking it slow, paper trading this moving average crossover move. And we'll see what we get. We'll see what happens to the overall market. Really, I'm following the SPY here to see what the SPY does. We got TEUM popping up on my scanners. Getting some volume here. ZYNE popping up. ZM, Zoom. Zoom pushing up pretty big. What did Lyft end up doing? lift up. So most stuff is bullish right now. That's rough, Pat. Yeah, I mean, most of the time I don't trade those scrap. Yeah, most of the time just kind of stay away from penny stocks, cheap stocks. I just think they're a little bit less predictable. All right, so the SPY's breaking highs here. So the SPY just broke the highs. It's up to 290.44. So the SPY is up, and with that, subsequently, AMD is spiking up here. See if we get the high break, and then I'll take some off here if we can actually get it. But SPY's looking bullish. SPY is looking very bullish. Let's get that high of the day break. Here we go. All right, so I took half off there. I'm just going to let this last little bit of, just a little bit work on the paper trade. Nice little rebound in the overall market. And this is one of those things where if you can't kind of take a step back, one of the reasons I'm paper trading today is just because, I don't want to force anything on my real account. I'm not trying to force anything on my real account. I'm just trying to take it slow and take my time off, or take my mind off of my regular account. That I think is necessary in this market for shorts. If I get too greedy, shorts are not going to be super favorable in this market. And so if I get too greedy, it's going to end up kind of backfiring on me. And so with that, I kind of have to do something to just occupy my mind, not force any shorts. And I'm just going to get out there for the green trade on AMD and, kind of just hang out here and see what we can get. Maybe take some paper trades. Maybe some, I think VWAP bounces specifically are going to be in play some. VWAP bounces specifically. I know Roku had a really nice VWAP bounce this morning. And so that's kind of what I was looking for. What's everybody else getting into? How's everybody else doing today? Because, like I said, I can paper trade on Thinkorswim like I'm doing. But for my live account, as a short bias trader, I just don't think today's going to be the day for it. Unless the market kind of runs down quickly and turns around quickly. I just don't know if today's going to be the day for it. One beautiful VWAP bounce today was on Roku. Look at this beautiful bounce here. And, for people that want to know what a VWAP bounce is, we kind of went over it in our class that we did yesterday that we uploaded to YouTube. But it's just an upward trend. Pull back to the VWAP. And then a really nice bounce back up. And that's what we see here. And with these, you can set a pretty tight risk. In this case, probably, I don't know if I would, in hindsight, 25 would be the ideal spot, but I don't think I would set it there. I'd probably set it at this 63.10 level right here. I think that level makes a little bit more sense, and then set this level up here as your reward target. I think that makes a lot of sense. Good risk reward as well. And that's basically what a VWAP bounce is we're just looking for an upward trend, a pullback to the VWAP, and then a bounce off of it. So you could just think of it as bouncing off the VWAP. It pushes up, comes back down to this purple VWAP, and then bounces back off of it. And so most of the time you're taking profits at the high of the day, right here, the previous high of the day, and it looked like a nice one there. AMTX doesn't look terrible for a fade. AMTX. I don't think it's tradable though. AXSM is at the VWAP. AXSM is interesting here at the VWAP. Alright, so AXSM is at the VWAP. The biggest concerning factor is that my risk would have to be at 1925, which is the previous high of the day. So if it actually breaks that, it's going to really spike up. That's the only concerning factor with AXSM, is that the VWAP is just right there at the high of the day. Or my risk level would be right there at the high of the day. Maybe AMRN for a little VWAP play. Or maybe even AMD here. And we can toy around with AMD and just kind of show you. Like, this is a VWAP bounce here. We could take it with a few hundred shares and just let this work. Risk in this case could be 82s or so. High of the day. Reward target could be 2709. Right here's the risk. We can take the moving average crossover off. No. Could be an interesting level here overall for AMD. I don't mind it though. It doesn't look bad. My entry is good enough now to where I can keep it with break even now though. SPY breaking the highs here. SPY trying to break the highs. Pinterest still running. But yeah, look at the SPY here, guys. Look at that. SPY breaking the highs, or trying to at least pull it back some here. Alright, I got out that one there. I'm looking at the SPY, and the SPY's consolidating. And maybe the SPY will spike up, but I think this might drop a little bit before then. Yeah, there's a drop in the SPY. Big drop in the SPY. Maybe I was wrong, but maybe I jumped out of that one too soon. Especially considering it's a paper trade, but yeah, there it goes. I was right. I just let my paper trade emotions get the best of me. That's where I've taken profits too, so nice little VWAP bounce. It followed through. Oh well. Yeah, look at Pinterest here, guys. Pins running up huge. But yeah, today's definitely a VWAP bounce type of day. Roku's actually back down there as well. Look at Pinterest though here, guys. Just skyrocketing up. Crazy. Up to 29.16. Crazy move. Roku's back down to the VWAP here too. Just to show you guys what a VWAP bounce is. So with Roku, you just buy it and you give yourself like a risk of, in this case it would probably be 25s or so. Right here, this probably be my risk in Roku, and my reward would be up here at 90 or so. And so my risk is from like 50 down to 25, so 25 cents, and then from 50 up to 90. is my reward target. And so it's almost 2 to 1. Not quite, but almost 2 to 1 there. Nice, brother. Nice work, James. Killing it, man. Killing it, brother. Let's see what the SPY's doing now. SPY's pulling back some finally here. The SPY's been running up all day. I'll probably just jump out of this one now. I'll let it stop me out, but regardless, I think it's just a good example showing you guys what a VWAP bounce is. Looking to take it here, risk of here. Makes sense. Decent risk. Alright, stop me out. Which is what I was risking, 25 bucks. Once it breaks this level here, I think it's going to start to surge down. It may fake me out though, but the SPY in general is pulling back here. Look at the SPY. AMTX did fade nicely though. So we might be getting that pullback. So like I said, I think the market might spike up at least initially today. We'll see what it does for the rest of the day. You know, overall it was still bad news, and we'll see what happens for the rest of the day here. Like I said, guys, join our public Discord channel. Our goal is to create a free day trading chat room. And so our goal is to create a free day trading chat room. We already have over 250 people in this Discord. And so if you want to be a part of that, if you want to join us, and this is one of the ways you can kind of talk to us if you're watching our classes and stuff like that, join that Discord link I just posted in the chat. Check that out. It's one of the ways you can kind of follow along with us and what we're doing. And like I said, our goal is to create a free public Discord, a free public day trading chat room. And so there's the link. Join it. Help us build this free day trading chat room. All right, so we are getting a pullback here, guys. We are getting a pullback. The overall market in general is pulling back to the VWAP, and then the market actually might bounce off the VWAP here. We'll see. I'm kind of bummed out. Look at AXSM. I called out the VWAP fade on this one as well. But like I said, I didn't like it because the risk-reward was just a little bit too risky. The risk-reward is too risky. The risk being at the previous high of the day. If the stock actually broke this 1925 level, it could really squeeze up, get some volume in, and that would be no bueno for me. So it ended up fading like I thought it would, but I just didn't take that one, which is fine. Like I said, I'm being pretty selective today. I'm not trying to necessarily go big right now. It's just with the market doing what it has the last day, I just got to be careful here. PEI. Yeah, PEI is pushing up big here. What's the news? What's the catalyst for this one? What is this? Pennsylvania real estate. Yeah, really nice move. Really nice push up here. I think this 75 high of the day is obviously important right here. If it can break that. I mean, I'm not going to tell you yes or no, Matt. I'm not going to tell you yes or no, just because for liability reasons, I don't want to say yes or no. It's completely up to you. To me, it looks a little extended at this point. It looks like it's going to pull back some, but that's just me. You know, I could be wrong. It could break highs and just start to skyrocket up. You know, I'm not really sure. I think since one thing to notice though is like the VWAP. People say they don't like the VWAP, but the VWAP will at least tell you extension. You know, if there's a lot of space between where the stock is now and the VWAP, it's usually going to pull back some. It's usually a little bit extended. and it's going to pull back to the VWAP some. And so with this being pretty far away from the VWAP, this pullback was a little understandable. Now, if it breaks 75 again, it may be interesting, but we'll see. Nice tech. All right, so now at this point we're getting, most of the stocks I'm looking at are following the overall market. What did the big stocks do today? Like SE, TSM. Microsoft is up, Apple is up, AMD up, Nvidia up. So most stuff is up right now because the SPY is up. And so the SPY rebounded nicely here. AMD's testing highs. And so we'll see what we get with some of these. But yeah, SPY rebounded some here. Look at the SPY. SPY starting to push up, break highs, and most of these other bigger cap stocks are starting to follow it some. But cannabis stocks up big today as well. Let's look at Cron. So yeah, I guess it was a good thing I got out of my short position on CGC on Friday. Because, man, that thing ended up skyrocketing up today. So yeah, there goes PEI. It pulled back, it broke that 75 level, and then it just squeezed up to 87. So PEI did end up pushing up some. You mean for Discord? Yeah, it's my Discord notifications. Here, I'll turn that off so you guys won't have to hear it. So there goes the SPY. SPY breaking the highs here. We might see a lot of bullish action right now for a lot of these stocks. But the SPY's breaking the highs. It's up to 290.79 here. Looking strong. Rebounding some from this big red day. And, yeah, so SPY broke highs. We'll see if it holds support here now or not. Yeah, AMD, I mean, the only thing, it looks good if it breaks here. It's just got a triple top at this point. And so it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Quadruple top if this fails. And so it's just a big, it's a big resistance level. If it breaks that level, though, and then holds support, it could really start to spike up. But that level could also hold as resistance. And so I think it just depends. It depends on how strong the SPY gets. The SPY's pushing up some, so I'm more inclined to think this is going to squeeze up as well. And so, yeah, there it goes. And so it broke that top, and now especially if that level can hold a support, it looks good. So, yeah, there it starts to run. There it goes. So it's up to 27.20s. Alright, so AMD's up to 27.20 now. Like I said, if it pulls back, I think an interesting level is this 27.09 point. SPY looking strong still. Remember, guys, while we have a moment here, if anybody's interested in using the same broker that Mitch and I use, the same broker that I'm using right now, go check out TradeNet and Tefs. They currently have a sale for their intro package, their base package, that you can get it for $3.99. And it's a pretty good deal because with that $3.99, you get a funded account with $14,000 in buying power to trade with. So you get to trade with a $14,000 funded account. There's no PDT rule, and so you can day trade as much as you want with that account. But there is a $700 max loss. And so since the account is $14K, if you go under $13,300, they close your account down, and there's a 70-30 profit split. And so it's similar to a prop firm. But anything that's tradable is anything that you can trade, you can short. And so it's really good for shorters. And you know, it's one of those things where I think TradeNet fills a necessary void in the market. Yeah, BLIN doesn't look bad. It just needs some more volume. But yeah, I think TradeNet fills a necessary void in the market because I think some traders, they don't have the money to like deposit a few $1,000s into SureTrader or another conventional broker, but they still want to trade with a decent size account. And TradeNet gives you that option. You know, it allows you to trade with, like I said, the base package. You can get it for $3.99 and you get $14K in buying power to actually trade with. And so I think it fills that necessary void. I think most new traders are going to lose their first account. I think that's just inconvenient truth of trading, that most traders lose their first account. But I think TradeNet gives traders a way to trade with decent size or to trade with small size with cheap commissions if you use small size and really take the time to learn how to trade the market. And I think it makes a lot of sense. It's cheaper to buy a TradeNet account than it is to deposit a few $1,000s into SureTrader. And so I think it just makes sense. TradeNet gets a lot of hate, but I think in that regard, it makes a lot of sense. And so if anybody's interested in signing up, I'll post my link here. It's a good way to help support the channel. And there's the link if anybody wants to check that out. But yeah, I haven't actually traded on it today, but this is Tef's platform right here. And if you want to see a bigger picture, this is what the actual platform looks like. So that's what the actual platform looks like. So it's not a bad platform by any means. It's a decent platform. I like using Thinkorswim for charts though. So I use a different broker for charts. But Tef's charts aren't that bad either. All right, so AXSM broke under that big level I was talking about earlier, specifically the previous day's closing price. So this previous day's closing price level is usually pretty significant when you see a gap fill like this. So when you see a gap fill like this, that previous day closing price is pretty significant. And that's what we see here. The previous close is at 1790. That's what it broke. It's pulling back now to see if that previous day's close turns into resistance. And this is kind of like the trade I took on CGC with Friday, where you basically wait for it to pull back to this resistance level and then short it on the way down. But man, this spread is terrible. They don't have it borrow. I can't borrow it. But yeah, I would look for a rejection at that previous day's close at 1790 or so. Right, for sure. And that's a lot of people's edge, cargo. That's where a lot of people do well, is because they accept their losses. You always got to just accept the risk that you're taking in the trade. You know, you gotta just accept the risk that you're taking in the trade. And that's one of the hardest things to do as a trader, is just to accept the risk. You know, instead of accepting the risk, in their trade. Instead of accepting the risk that you take, a lot of traders refuse to accept it, and so they add sizing to it, or they continue to scale up, or they average down in their trade until it turns, or they continue to trade and they keep taking bigger and bigger losses. And so a lot of times traders' inability to accept a loss is their single biggest determining factor into why they're not doing well. BLIN, low float. That's why it's getting halted. Let me look at it again. Yeah, it's just not my style for BLIN. I know the float's tiny and it keeps getting halted, and so there's some volatility, but because the volume is so low, it just makes it a little risky for me. Plus, the halts kind of make it a deal breaker. I don't want to just gamble with that one. Yeah, I mean, for sure, Sophist. I mean, that's kind of what it is. It's trading. Trading attracts a certain type of person. Most of the time, trading attracts like a really competitive person. You know, I know I'm really a competitive person. I'm super competitive, and so with that said, it's accepting a loss is one of the hardest things for like a competitive person to do. It's really hard for a person to say, hey, I had a loss today, and that's okay. I don't need to trade again. I'm just going to accept the loss on the day and move on with my life. Like, that's the hardest thing for a trader to do. And that's usually what causes, the snowball effect in trading, to where you take a loss, you can't accept it, so you double your sizing, take a bigger loss. Now your loss is so big you can't accept that, and so you triple your sizing, and then you take a huge loss, and then you say, well, my account's down so much already, I'm just going to go for it, and then you lose your whole account. And that's a very common tale in trading. I call it the snowball effect. Super common, and it's one of those things where you just got to be able to accept the initial loss you take. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's super common. Yeah, Tech. No, don't stress, brother. Most new traders are going to lose their first account anyway, Tech. It's like I said, most new traders are going to lose anyway. It's just about whether they learn from their mistakes or not is the big thing. Like, most new traders are going to lose a few accounts. Most new traders are going to lose their first few accounts. The ones that ultimately end up turning it around are the ones that learn from those few mistakes that they made and then adjust to, to adjust their style, and they adjust their discipline, and they adjust their selectivity. That's why giving yourself a good trade plan is super important. Analyzing the range of the stock, your risk in that trade, giving yourself rules to follow. Like, I have my rules where I can't trade more than 2 times per day if I have a losing day. If I'm down on the day and I've had 2 losing trades, I'm not allowed to trade again. And I stick to that rule like glue. Another one of my rules is 3 trades per day max, no matter what. Even if I'm having the best day ever, I can only trade 3 times a day. Because I know myself, and I know what works for my style of trading, and I know if I don't limit myself, then I'm going to go crazy. And so I have to limit myself. And so 2 biggest things a trader can do to help themselves is try to keep a consistent win. Try to keep your wins and losses as consistent as possible by analyzing your range. Try to keep your risk not the same level, because you're never going to have. Sometimes you're going to trade different range stocks. Meaning sometimes your risk is going to be 30 cents, sometimes your risk is going to be 15 cents. But the way you compensate for that is you adjust your share size depending on how big your risk is. For instance, if your risk is 15 cents and you use 1,000 shares, in the next trade, if your risk is 30 cents, you use 500 shares to keep it as consistent as possible. And if you do that, and you add that with rules that limit the amount of trades you do per day, you're going to lose much less, and you're going to protect your account a lot more. And that's what traders ultimately need to do, especially new traders. Right. Most of the time, traders should actually paper trade. until they really show consistent gains, and then figure out what they want to do next. I mean, I know most people don't, but I think that's a important thing to do. And I'm not trying to sound super high up or anything like that. A lot of what I'm talking about is from experience, you know. I mean, I'm not trading today, Mats. I mean, there's just nothing that I really like that looks good right now. I mean, I've paper traded some, but for now, I'm not really seeing much I like. SPY overall is pretty bullish today. SPY's pretty bullish, and so with my style of strategies, I think that's just a risky time to try to trade. Right, brother. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, you killed it today, James. So yeah, man. Nothing wrong with taking a step back and just appreciating your gain and just not trying to force anything else. The only one that kind of looks decent for me, at least, is AMRN. It doesn't look like a bad VWAP rejection here. So AMRN doesn't look like a bad rejection. I don't know if I'm gonna trade. I'll probably just take a step back for today, guys, and not force anything. I can paper trade if I want to get my fix in for trading. You know. But like just to show you, this doesn't look terrible. Nice little risk of like 1780 or so. So my risk is like 13 cents. And then my reward could be down here at 1750s. But that's one of the things like paper trading is good for. Like if you have the urge to trade, even though you know you probably shouldn't, paper trade. You know, that's kind of what I try to do. If I have the urge to trade, even though I know I probably shouldn't be trading in the first place, I just paper trade. It'll kind of help me curb my impulse to trade, but protect my account. Right, and that's the move, James. I mean, that's what it's one of those things, right? Um, One of the best things you can do is just if you know you shouldn't trade today, but you have the urge to anyway. One of the best things you can do is paper trade, and you also just find something else to do. Take a step away from your computer. You know, you don't necessarily have to trade. Right, you don't necessarily have to trade, and you know that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just, you know, you realize where if paper trading will kind of get your mind right too, to where if you get into a paper trade and it fails, then you know, okay, I probably should have taken that trade in the first place. I'm glad I didn't take that trade, you know. Yeah, AMD's up here. AMD's just a little too extended for me though. It's just a little too high up there at this point. I mean, I think it still has some room, maybe up to 2750 here, but for me, AMD is just it's too much up there. Too big of a risk of a pullback, I think, for AMD. At least for me. You know, everybody's different, though. And this is why. So my paper trade right here on AMRN is about to be stopped out. And this is kind of a good confirmation in why I didn't want to trade my live account today. And I'm happy I didn't. It's because paper trade would have failed. I let it test my risk. And then I get out. So yeah, paper trade would have stopped me out. This is why you paper trade. And this is why I'm able to take a step back and not force anything today, is because my paper trade would have failed. Glad I didn't trade. Got squeezed up. Looked like a nice little rejection play too. But it is what it is. Ultimately happy with myself that I didn't let the temptation of trading today force me to get into something that would have ended up stopping me out and turning into a loss. And now I can just be happy with my decision. I am in Central Time. Yeah, I'm in Texas. I'm in South Texas. North Houston area. And yeah, so AMRN would have stopped me out. Another one that kind of looks like a fade, but like I said, this is kind of the same strategy that was on AMRN. At 16.05, doesn't look terrible. You could use 16.16 as your risk for 11 cents. 15.83 as your reward target for about 22 cents. So if you can get up to 16.05, it's good risk reward, but still. Nice, JC. But the moving average crossover play would have worked really nicely today. If anybody saw me trade on AMD today, moving average crossover play would have worked really nice. So everybody see Game of Thrones last night? How about that Game of Thrones episode, man? Serious. Super serious. I won't spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen the episode yet. I won't spoil it. But super serious episode. And here's the thing, right, guys? This is something that if you're gonna trade VWAP strategies, like I said, AMD would have to pull back some for me to like it. The VWAP would have to pull up with some volume, move up, and it would have to pull back some for me to like it. But yeah, this is an interesting thing to understand about VWAP and related strategies. So it's something that we went over in our class yesterday. But the VWAP is an intraday trend indicator. So the VWAP is an intraday trend indicator. And so what we get a lot of times with the VWAP is a stock can't necessarily pick a trend, right? When a stock is choppy and neutral, meaning the volume's pretty low, the stock will cross over and under the VWAP over and over again. You know, I've had people tell me the VWAP is terrible because the stock just crosses over and under the VWAP over and over and over again. And that may be true, but when a stock does that, it just means the volume's low and it's choppy. And here's a good example on Cron a few days ago. You can see it just crosses over and under the VWAP over and over again. And that just signifies a neutral trend, a choppy trend. Meaning the stock is neutral, it's not picking a trend, because when the stock stays and maintains over the VWAP, it's in an upward intraday trend. And when the stock maintains below the VWAP, it's in a downward intraday trend. And so when you see the stock cross over and under the VWAP like the first half of this day here on Cron, that just means it's neutral. It means the volume's probably pretty low, which you could see it was. And it's just a neutral trend. And so what does that tell us about VWAP fades and bounces? It tells us that when the market is choppy and the volume is low in the market, then VWAP fades are going to fake you out a ton. Because this looked like a fade and it just spiked up. And so when the stock is crossing over and under the VWAP, it means the market's choppy and you're going to get faked out for VWAP fades. And so again, what can we take from that? We can take from that you want to attack VWAP fades when the market is at least somewhat volatile, when the market's at least going to pick a direction with decent enough volume. That's when you want to trade VWAP fades. And so when the market doesn't pick a direction and the overall market is just choppy, or the stock you're watching is choppy, you're going to get faked out a lot with VWAP fades and bounces, and most VWAP strategies in general. Cersei plays her role so well, I actually feel real hate for her when I see her face. Yeah, man, I was mad at her that last episode. I think she's going to... I'm not going to ruin it, but... Rest in peace to you-know-who in that last episode. Alright, so Kron is actually up here to the VWAP. Like I said, we could, What? Oh, it's not letting me borrow it. That's the good thing about TradeNet and TEFs, is that it actually lets me short these. It's going to restrict me from shorting those. Alright guys, well I'm probably done. BLIN is popping up on the scanners though. BLIN is popping up on the scanners, but even it is looking a little choppy right now. Volume's just so low. It's such a low float stock. Huge range. I'd buy like 1 share of this and be happy. Or no, I'd buy like, 100 shares of this and be happy. Just a crazy move. Low volume though. So yeah, I'm probably going to close it down for the day, guys. Like I said, not really seeing much I like. I don't really want to get into anything on my live account. I actually had a decent gain on Friday on my live account, and so I don't necessarily want to take an unnecessary risk when the market is looking as bullish as it is. The SPY is continuing to push up here. And so I was right in pre-market. SPY pushed up, rebounding some from this big loss. And so we'll see what happens for the rest of the day. I'll try to post a recap video a little bit later as well. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. So like I said, if you're interested in using the same broker that Mitch and I use, the intro package on TradeNet, it fills a necessary void in the market. Like I said, you pay for the intro package. It's not a deposit. You're actually paying for it. It's $3.99. And with that, you get $14,000 in buying power to trade with. So you get to trade with $14K in buying power with their base package. There's no PDT rule, and so you can day trade as much as you want. But there is a $700 max loss, and so if you go under $13,300, they close you down, and there's a profit split of 70-30. And so it's similar to a prop firm is the best way I can use to describe it. But like I said, it fills that void because it's cheaper to go the TradeNet route and to lose a TradeNet account than it is to deposit a few $1,000s into a regular broker. I think it just makes more sense, and it eliminates some of that risk for specifically new traders, because I think most new traders are going to lose their first account anyway, and TradeNet allows them to trade with a decent account. You can use small sizing, so like if I got into a trade with 300 shares, my commissions on TradeNet and TEFs are going to be like $3 or $4 total for a complete round trip. And so it's cheap commissions if you use small sizing as well, and you can short anything that's tradable. And so I think it fills that necessary void. If you're interested in checking that out, I'll post this link here as well. They do have a competition coming up. I'm going to be making a video about that soon, about the trading competition. So I will be making a video about the trading competition as well. And I think it's free to enter. A lot of cool stuff going on with it. But yeah, if you want to check out TradeNet, I think that they said that you get approved easier if you already have an account with them. And so there's the link if you want to check that out. It says to get the intro package for $3.99. Check out that. Also, go check out Trade Ideas. Super cool company. Trade Ideas allows you to do a lot of different stuff if you're interested in checking out a really legit day trading and trading in general scanner. You can see these middle scanners here are all Trade Ideas. Like I said, super cool company. They allow me to stream their scans every day, and super cool company. And so I'll post that link here as well if anybody wants to check out Trade Ideas. Really dynamic scanners, super customizable, and like I said, allow you to do a lot of different stuff with them. And so I'll post that link here for Trade Ideas if you're interested in checking them out and helping support the channel as well. And yeah, guys, that's it for today. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Mitch and I day trade live on stream every weekday morning starting at 8:15 market time. And so hit that subscribe button. We do this live every day. Can't hide anything. You guys can follow along with our account balances if you want. Only people really in the trading world that's doing this. Other people are posting scanners, solely scanners, because let's be honest, they're afraid to stream live. But yeah, good luck for the rest of the day, guys. I'll see you all a little bit later. Hit that like button as well if you want to help support the channel. And oh yeah, guys, we're gonna have our that new class coming out tonight. We're gonna be updating and publishing a new trading class that is each about an hour long, 30 minutes to an hour long, every day for the next few months. I'll post that link here as well. So if you want to check out the new classes that we're uploading, I'll post the playlist here for you to check out. Maybe I'll post this new class here, but we've got classes on a lot of different stuff. And so here's the class we uploaded yesterday. So far, we've got pretty good comments about it. And here's the class. Like I said, this is a sample class we posted yesterday. Not a sample class. So we're going to be posting a class like that every day for free on YouTube for the next 2 months or so. And so go check it out. Yesterday's class was on understanding VWAP and related strategies. And so go check out that link. I just posted. It's our latest class that we have. And like I said, good luck for the rest of the day, guys. We'll see you all a little bit later. Have a good day and good luck in the markets.